wanted to show one of my family's favorite traditions, food traditions that we do. They're called Aebelskivers. Aebelskivers are a Danish, so from Denmark, little pancake ball, I guess, is the best way to describe them. They're a little pastry that's been cooked in butter. We serve them sweet with a little bit of powdered sugar, or sometimes we'll put jam, or you can put Nutella, or freeze little balls of chocolate ganache and then put that on the inside of our Aebelskivers as they cook. This is a cast iron Aebelskiver pan. They have these wells in them, and that's where the Aebelskivers bake. I'm going to start by getting my pan preheating. So the Aebelskiver batter, we're going to use eggs, we're going to use milk, and we're going to whip the egg whites. And these are my dry ingredients. We've got 2 cups of milk. I got this massive egg from my chicken, and I thought it would be hilarious to crack it. We're going to try and see if this is a double yolker. It is! Look, we had 2 yolks. Ha! That's awesome. I'm going to just have to separate these with my fingers.
Ew.
I promise I just barely washed my hands, and I will wash them again when I'm done. So I'm putting the yolks in here, and I'm putting the whites in here because we're going to whip the egg whites. I like separating into a separate bowl because when we are whipping egg whites, we need to make sure that there is absolutely no egg yolk or fat in the egg whites, because that will prevent them from being able to build up air and whip up nicely. I got to get some shortening out and get it melting. I'm just going to kind of eyeball my shortening here. We need 1/4 cup of shortening. Every time I use shortening in one of the videos that I've done, or a recipe that I've done for Indri Vanilla, the first question is, can I use something else besides the shortening? Or do I need to include the shortening at all? I have not field tested all of these. I have tried these Aebelskivers with coconut oil instead of shortening. The texture was not as great. And I have also accidentally left out the melted shortening, and the texture was really not as great. So I'm going to ask you to do your own research. If you want the answer to that question, you're going to have to figure it out yourself, because I'm not willing to sacrifice even one Aebelskiver without melted shortening. And I do intend to eat these Aebelskivers. My dry ingredients include flour, salt, a little sugar, and some baking powder. Now we're going to finish assembling the Aebelskiver batter. So we're just going to whisk these until they're nice. This is just the egg yolks. Now we have our dry ingredients, and then I've got 2 cups of milk, and I'm actually going to go ahead so I don't forget this, because I always do. I'm going to add a teaspoon, okay, it's more like 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, more like a tablespoon of vanilla extract to the milk, just so that I don't forget to add it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of the dry ingredients and a little bit of the milk, and we're going to kind of alternate back and forth between those, so that it can just stay really, really smooth. So I usually do this in about thirds, get those started together, but as you can see, that just gets lumpy pretty quick when I add the dry ingredients. So now I'm going to add a little bit of the milk. This is something that we look forward to every year. We have the dry ingredients and the milk, and the egg yolks all kind of whisked together. We're going to now whip the egg whites to stiff or medium stiff peaks. They're about there. So yeah, that's about where we want them out. I can show you this. This one is cool. So you can see this is what the bottom side of it looks like. It's just a solid cast iron pan. They are heavy. This one doesn't have a flat bottom. And I'm glad, because otherwise it gets unbelievably heavy. And I'm going to finish whipping in or folding in the rest of the egg whites. I'm kind of doing these in 3. And yes, I am using a whisk, because it was already dirty. By the way, I'm terrible at whisking or folding things in. Also not going to forget to fold in our melted shortening. That is our Aebelskiver batter. It's similar to a pancake batter. I've already pulled out a few tools to help me cook this. I'm going to use the pitcher, the little liquid measuring cup that I used to measure my milk for the recipe. I'm going to use that to pour the batter into, just to make this easier to dispense into the little Aebelskiver wells. So I just have some butter, and that's what we want to look for. That's when you know that your pan is plenty warm. So now we're just going to start pouring. We want to fill up these wells pretty well full. This is what we do with Aebelskivers. So once we've got them cooking for just a little bit, they'll start to cook on the outside before they cook all the way through. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to reach in and grab that one. I couldn't feel it grabbing. It's not cooked enough in order for me to grab the side. And you just kind of grab the side and lift that cooked section up if you can. And then let the batter just puddle down into the well. My middle well always is the hottest, and so it always cooks the fastest. I usually do about that much of a turn. I don't know, is that a quarter turn? Is that a half turn? I don't know what that looks like. But when I get it to about this phase, I kind of have to assess how much batter is in each one ready to go. This one is just taking its time over here. And then you just kind of start turning it all the way over. I like to reach in the underside, flip it all the way over, and kind of tuck in the edges. It's where it's helpful to have a crochet hook, have a chopstick, a wooden skewer. So, and then I get a bowl. And at this point, once they've already been turned all the way, sometimes it's easier to turn it with a spoon. So, what do you think, Anna? How do they smell?
I think they smell so good. They smell very buttery and like pancakes, but better.
But better. When I was a kid, my mom would always make us eat like a bowl of applesauce or something between batches, because otherwise we would just inhale the Aebelskivers way too fast. It's definitely a labor of love, but for us on special occasions, it's totally worth it. As my pan gets into a more consistent heat, and as I cook them, the little sphere balls will be even prettier. They're done when they are brown all around the outside, and then I sometimes will like to poke the inside of them with my chopstick or something like that, just to check to see if it's cooked all the way through, just to demonstrate. This is how we eat them.
Vicky says that they look delicious.
They are so good, and they're really hot right now. So that's what they look like on the inside. See, they're so tender and so soft. Put a little bit of butter, and then I'm kind of a purist, a little bit of powdered sugar. All right, my mouth is totally watering. I love these so much. They are such a family, such a treat, such a great way to like spend a Sunday morning making Aebelskivers. We like to put on some nice music or a show, and we just sit and make Aebelskivers and just talk with each other, and it becomes a whole event. Such a special memory, something that is really, really precious to me.